up, brother?
Sorry I'm late, man. I got caught up watching that Jeffrey Epstein series.
What's
Shit is getting good.
happening with you?
Hey, man, maintaining through the craziness, bro.
Hey, what I'm gonna do is, since we're 15, you want to we got a whole hour?
Say that again.
You want me to start this session over again?
Why?
Because it only gives us 1 hour. Now we're 15. Unless you want to do it,
Okay, then.
however you want to do it.
No, how much would we have right now? An hour, you say?
We have 45 minutes right now.
That's plenty of time, ain't it?
Put your career.
Can we get it in?
Okay,
It's up to it's up to you, my brother. I'm yours right now. You know what I mean? No homo.
that's cool. Can you take us back to where you were born and raised?
Born in Pinar del Rio, Cuba, 1967, summer of love. Raised in Southgate, California, predominantly.
Back to a day in the life of Mellow growing up.
I'm sorry. Say that again. You're kind of breaking up.
Can you take us back to a day in the life growing up throughout your teenage years?
The teenage years, yeah. Wake up about, I don't know, 12 noon. The homies would already be at the door from across the street on Cypress. 40s and blunts, kid. 40s and blunts already. That was breakfast. Then 4 o'clock will come through. We'd probably be on the basketball courts at the what's the equivalent of our like PS 79 type of thing, which was more of a elementary school in our neighborhood. About 4 o'clock, you know. Then we run ball for about a couple of hours, come back, and then it was 40s and blunts again. That's what it was.
Can you take us back to the early memories? What way? Uh,
I'm sorry, my G. You're breaking up on your end every time you ask me a question.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you take us back to your earliest memories of hip hop on the block?
Earliest memories of hip hop on the block?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It had to be like 1983 in there. Bringing the cardboard box out, laying it out in front of my parents' crib, and then we break for a while, do some practicing and stuff like that. Try to sharpen up your windmills and stuff like that, and then it was the best time, man. It was the best time. It was like pure essence of what we thought life was gonna be like, when you grew up. Like, you never thought about like, yo, get a job, or what are you gonna do when you grow up,
So, at what point did Mellow Mayonnaise pick up the pad and pen and start to delve into becoming a?
Yeah, it was in that same time frame. I was b-boying Rickler, Barber 7. I see you. Peace, homeboy. Dale duro, mi gente. In that same time, bro, the 1990 move came out, and that's when you're spinning upside down on one hand, right? And I just couldn't do that move, bro, because I didn't like being upside down like that on one hand. I could do, do some leg work, maybe up rock, leg work, go into some windmills, and then jump up on my head. That was cool because my body was still touching the floor. But when something about putting your hand like that, going vertically this way and spinning, it just wasn't for me. It was too difficult. And so at that time, I was in 10th, 11th grade. I picked up my first pen and started writing my first rhyme. I think I wrote a rhyme called Classroom 109 because that was the classroom I was in. And it was some basic garbage thing, just getting your first rhyme on, nothing to write home about.
Can you take us back to some of your early days of paying dues before your Capitol deal? What kind of dues did you pay, and how did you get your demo circulating for the Capitol deal?
The early dues was, I remember myself, DJ Muggs, my brother, and Tomahawk Funk, I believe it was. We would take meetings with these older cats in the Hollywood Hills. And, we were just coming up, so we didn't really know about publishing and points and splits and shares and all that kind of stuff. And there was an old-time jazz dude who had a nice studio in the hills, and I forgot how we met him. And we had this meeting, and he wanted to own our publishing and do all these things. And I give props to Muggs because Muggs was like, nah, we ain't fucking with that. And you have guys like that were in and around trying to capitalize on young kids, And then the struggle, just trying to get your demo heard. Once you did get your demo done, trying to take it to Solar Records and what's his name down there? I'm drawing a blank on his name, the owner and president of Solar Records, and even Chocolate City Records that was down on Sunset. They wouldn't even take our meeting. So, we heard a lot of no's, especially when they heard, the Spanish rap thing, Oh, you Spanish? You rapping in what? In Spanish? Nah, we don't want to hear that shit. Yo, my man DJ Gargamel, I see you. Sean B, what's up? Yeah, 783 in the house, no doubt. All the fam is coming through, all right. I'm so Harlem, bitch, I see you, homeboy. Dick Griffey, Sean B, 783 just said it right there. That was his name, Solar Records. And it wasn't popping, they wasn't having it. It wasn't until 783, my man Sean B, Brett B, and DJ Muggs had a studio session at Delicious Vinyl. And mind you, this is probably about 3 or 4 year struggle. It wasn't, some people pay a longer due. For me, it was this long. In 1987, that's when I believe that's when Sean, Brett, and Muggs were doing a song for the movie Colors, right? And it happened that DJ Muggs came by the block that day, and I was the only one out there. And he was like, yo, who wants to go to the studio? So I said, because Sendog had a job at the time, I believe, right, at a shoe store or something like that, at JCPenney. And B Real was somewhere. I don't remember if he was in the hood at the time or whatever. And I said, I'll roll. So I roll up there with him. And during that session, yeah, see, Madman World, there you go, 87, true indeed. Good looking out, Sean. And it was during that session that Matt Dyke, rest in peace, and Michael Ross, the owners of Delicious Vinyl, owned that studio, and they were just coming out with a label called Delicious Vinyl. And during their session, they came out and asked, they just said, we just started a new label, and we signed this kid from USC. His name is Young MC. And another cat from South Central, his name is Tonelok. And I was like, at that time, it's like saying anything. It didn't make, who cares? Like, you don't know these people, so it's like, okay, whatever. And I was like, yo, I rhyme, and I rhyme in Spanish too. And they was like, what? Mind you, these are two Jewish kids, you know, starting a record company off their little trust fund or whatever. And they were like, oh, word? Check this out. Why don't you come back tomorrow? We'll put you on a track, and we'll see how you sound. And I remember I at that time I didn't have a car, so I borrowed mom's car, went back up there, and they threw up that slow beat, that Mas Pingon beat, the Let's Do This beat. And I just went for broke, and I started spitting and spitting. And they were like, yo, you know, you sound like the Latino LL Cool J out this motherfucker, you know? Because at the time, you know, the rhymes, we was yelling on niggas, you know? Yeah, rah, 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 you know, just yelling. And they said, we're going to give you a deal. And sure enough, which worked out for me because at the time, Pops had kicked me out of the house. So I kind of had to leave the crew in order to get back in good graces with Pops, take the deal, because Muggs didn't want to fuck with him like that, you know? Plus, he was still busy doing the 783 thing while he still was cultivating Cypress Hill. As for me, I had to take it, you know, because I was living at the hood house. Anyway, long story short, we all fucking made it anyway. We were supposed to. That's just what it was for us, all of us. You know, even, you know, to some degree, we all made it, whether it's Funk Dubious, Mellow Man Ace, 783, Cypress Hill, all of us. We all made it. So we all got record deals, all of us.
What was that first deal? One album deal, 2 album deal, 3 album deal? What was the...
Nah. That first deal was a 12-inch single deal with $2,000 attached. And they had produced the beat, so I didn't have to pay for the track there, not in that essence. And they gave me 2 G's, which I went out and bought some old crusty 1971 BMW. I thought it was the shit, you know. Nobody could tell me shit though. I earned that shit. And but we would later parlay that into a major record deal.
So how did the major record deal come about from the 12-inch deal?
Word, yeah. One day we get a call from Delicious Vinyl saying they're gonna do a show out in San Diego State University with Tila Rock, myself, and Tonelok on the bill. And I think they paid me $50 to some shit like that to go do it. And so at that time, Muggs was my acting DJ. Sean, I see you, bro. Muggs was my acting DJ at that time for what was called, we had a crew before this. It was called DVX. So DVX, but at this time now I'm Mellow Man Ace because I got the single deal. Anyway, Sen and B was my dancers at that time. We go down there. We show up, man. We thought it was going to go crazy. We thought it was going to be, you know, girls galore. It's at the big hall, you know. We do the sound check. Niggas think we're on tour, you know. Man, let me tell you what, Sin-seer. 10 motherfuckers came to that show. But one of them was a brother by the name of Kenny Ortiz, black Cuban brother, who was working for Capitol Records. After my show, because we went 100% on the stage. We went 110. I mean, I'm opening up for Tila Rock. It's yours. I'm going to go hard, right? The whole crew went hard. DJ Muggs was flipping the record back and up and cutting like this with the thing like this. Ooh. Sen and B, everybody was live. Everybody was active. So he steps to me after my set. Now, mind you, there's only 10 people there, man. I'm very disappointed. And he gives me his business card. He says, yo, man, I'm Kenny Ortiz from Capitol Records. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, here's my business card, man. We're really interested in what you're doing with the Spanish rap. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but I already got a record deal at Delicious Vinyl. And he was like, don't worry about that. We're going to buy out the contract. We're going to buy out the contract. So he gave me his business card. He said, call me on Monday and we're going to talk this shit out. And that's what happened. We got back from San Diego that Monday. I called him, and the man was a real one. He was a real one. He put it all in play.
So what was the game plan recording your first album, Escape from Havana?
Well, the first part was they had to buy out the contract from Delicious Vinyl, right? So that process had to take place first, because Delicious Vinyl could have said, nah. If you want one of our artists, we're not. That means that, wait a minute, this kid is good. We're not gonna sell. We're not selling his contract. We're keeping the kid, whatever. But that wasn't the case, because they actually needed funds to allocate towards the Tonelok and the Young MC project, which they didn't have. So here comes Capitol, offers them somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 45,000 for me. Now they got the capital to burn those vinyls for them dudes, right? And that's how that happened. So they gave Delicious Vinyl 45. They gave me another 90, of which from that I took 80 and put it towards the record and only took 10 home, right? And so everybody who worked on that project got paid. But what I did was I planted a seed, you know, a $80,000 seed. Whereas I could have just did the record on 10 G's and walked home with the 80 and been neighborhood rich, right? But I didn't do it like that. So if you ask me, it was a maturity thing to me that I did at a young age, that I flipped that 80, put it into the project, and then in hopes of blowing up, and that's what happened.